Bro, I stamp on everything I love, bro. What type of gangster pull up on a man, say they gonna do something to a man, and pull out their phone on everything I love, bro? Baby ARP in hand, man. I just asked these folks, what you wanna do? Why y'all keep staring at me? I'm sitting here, right in the drive, right there, tell them niggas what they wanna do. Man, them niggas shaking, man. 3, you shaking. Ben, shaking. Y'all niggas ain't do shit, man. Listen, then right after that, cause I hop in the car, I'm like, man, what y'all wanna do? Y'all don't wanna do nothing. Nigga pull off in the whip. Now niggas wanna pull their phone out, man. I had 2 niggas on the front line that would've laid y'all down. Come on, man. If you gonna post something, post that, bro.
Internet didn't wake up calm today. It woke up buzzing, confused, and borderline explosive. Your timeline is flooded. Group chats are on fire. And one headline refuses to go away. Reports claiming leaked footage of 4KT members jumping NLE Choppa are going viral. Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions, let's be clear. Nobody is saying this actually happened. What we're talking about is the storm of reports, the whispers, and the alleged clips people swear they've seen, but nobody can fully confirm. And somehow, that mystery is making this story even bigger. Fans are shocked. Emotions ran high online, and hip-hop Twitter turned into a courtroom overnight. Some people are calling it the wildest rumor of the year. Others say it's another example of how fast narratives spiral out of control once a name like NLE Choppa gets attached. Screenshots are popping up, voice notes are being dissected, and everyone suddenly claims they know someone who was there. But when you ask for proof, things get quiet, real quiet. What makes this situation so intense isn't just the rumor itself, it's the history attached to it. The names involved already carry tension, past disagreements, and years of internet speculation. So when alleged leaked footage starts trending, fans don't ask if it's real, they ask why now? Why this moment? Why this location? And who benefits from this story spreading like wildfire? Behind the scenes, insiders are reportedly scrambling. Friends are making calls. Fans are choosing sides without waiting for facts. And while no confirmed incident has been established, the damage of the narrative is already unfolding in real time. One rumor, one headline, thousands of assumptions. This isn't just gossip. This is how modern hip-hop drama is born. Not from facts, but from fragments, reactions, and silence. And as the internet keeps refreshing, one question hangs in the air. Is this just another exaggerated online frenzy, or the beginning of a much deeper controversy that hasn't fully surfaced yet? Stay right here, because once you see how this story allegedly started, who reacted first, and why everyone is pointing fingers, you'll understand why fans can't stop talking about it. The story did not explode all at once. It crept in quietly, starting with a few scattered posts that most people scrolled past without thinking twice. A blurry screenshot here, a vague caption there, someone claiming they heard something from someone who knew someone. But within hours, the tone shifted. Fans are shocked because suddenly the same claim was everywhere. Different accounts saying similar things in different ways. None of them saying it was confirmed, but all of them hinting at the same idea. Reports were circulating about alleged leaked footage involving NLE Choppa and people connected to 4 Knots. And once that idea entered the conversation, emotions ran high instantly. What made it more intense was how fast people began filling in the blanks themselves. Nobody waited for clarification. Nobody paused to ask where the footage came from or whether it even existed. Instead, timelines turned into people imagined parking lots, back entrances, tense moments caught on shaky phone cameras. Fans argued with fans, strangers fought like they had personal stakes. And suddenly this rumor felt larger than any single post that started it. It felt like a wave that could not be stopped once it gained momentum. Some accounts claimed the footage was being quietly taken down. Others insisted they saw it for a few seconds before it disappeared. A few went as far as describing what they believed was in the clip, even though their descriptions never fully matched. One person said it showed shouting. Another claimed it was chaos. Someone else swore it was nothing but people arguing and cameras shaking. That inconsistency only fueled the fire. Because when stories do not line up, people assume something is being hidden. But fans of NLE Choppa were split almost immediately. Some rushed to defend him, saying this was exactly how false narratives start and ruin reputations. They reminded everyone that nothing had been confirmed and that social media has a long history of turning rumors into supposed facts overnight. Others, however, reacted emotionally. They questioned why his name would even be attached to such reports if there was no truth behind them. That tension created a divide that grew wider by the minute. Meanwhile, supporters connected to the other side of the rumor reacted with silence. And that silence spoke louder than any statement could have. People began reading into every post, every caption, every song, lyric, shared around that time. Fans slowed down videos, analyzed comments, and tried to decode meaning where none may have existed. Emotions ran high because in the world of hip-hop drama, silence is often interpreted as confirmation, even when it should not be. Behind the scenes, people close to both camps were reportedly frustrated. Friends were fielding calls, management teams were watching the situation carefully, and everyone seemed aware that once a story reaches this level of attention, it no longer belongs to the truth. It belongs to the audience. And the audience had already decided this was bigger than just gossip. They treated it like breaking news. Even though every post carefully used words like allegedly and reportedly. What pushed the situation further was how fast unrelated moments from the past were pulled back into the spotlight. Old interviews resurfaced. Past disagreements were reposted with new captions. Casual remarks made years ago were suddenly framed as foreshadowing. Fans stitched together timelines that made the rumor feel inevitable, as if this moment had been building toward something all along. Emotions ran high because people were not just reacting to the present rumor, but 2 years of unresolved tension they believed existed beneath the surface. Some fans expressed disappointment, not because they believed the reports, but because they hated seeing artists they admired dragged into another cycle of internet drama. They spoke about growth, maturity, and how quickly progress gets overshadowed by chaos. Others did not share that sympathy. They argued that this is the cost of fame, that narratives come with the territory, and that staying quiet only gives rumors more power. The fan base was left divided, with neither side willing to back down. Then came the reaction videos. Creators went live to discuss what they had heard, careful not to claim anything as fact, but dramatic enough to keep viewers watching. Phrases like "fans are shocked" and "emotions ran high" echoed across platforms. Repeated so often they began to feel like part of the story itself. Speculation became entertainment. Every pause, every sigh, every raised eyebrow in these videos added another layer to the narrative. Even though nothing new was actually being confirmed, people also began questioning motives. Some wondered who would benefit from such a rumor spreading so fast. Was it clout chasing, distraction, or just the internet doing what it always does when it smells controversy? Others believed it was simply coincidence mixed with timing, that all it takes is one rumor at the wrong moment for everything to spiral out of control. Those questions lingered without answers, adding to the sense of unease surrounding the situation. Through all of this, one thing remained consistent. Nobody could point to a verified source, no official statement, no confirmed footage, just a flood of posts talking about reports of leaked footage. That distance between the claim and proof made the story strangely powerful. It lived in the gray area, where denial feels weak and confirmation feels dangerous. Fans were stuck reacting to something that technically did not exist, yet felt very real in its impact. As the hours passed, the tone of the conversation shifted again. Anger slowly mixed with exhaustion. Some people admitted they were tired of constant drama. Others said this was exactly why they stayed glued to their screens, because the uncertainty keeps them hooked. The situation had become less about what actually happened, and more about how people felt watching it unfold. Shock turned into debate. Debate turned into frustration. Frustration turned into silence, for some, and louder speculation for others. By the time the initial wave began to slow, the damage had already been done. The rumor had carved itself into the public conversation. Even if it disappeared the next day, it would leave behind questions, screenshots, and opinions that would resurface whenever either name trended again. Fans are shocked not just by what was rumored, but by how quickly everyone was willing to believe, deny, defend, or attack without certainty. And as the conversation continued to evolve, one reality became clear. In the age of viral news, it no longer takes evidence to create impact. It only takes a headline, a few emotional reactions, and enough people willing to imagine the rest. As the online noise kept growing, new layers were added to the story that made it feel heavier and more personal. People were no longer just talking about alleged footage. They started talking about feelings, pride, and reputation. Fans are shocked because suddenly this rumor was not only about what might have been seen on a screen, but about what it symbolized. To many, it became a test of respect, a question of image, and a reminder of how fragile public perception really is. Some fans began pulling clips from recent performances, watching body language, listening closely to tone. They claimed they could hear tension in voices, see stress in movements, notice energy that felt off. Others laughed at that idea, saying people were projecting drama where there was none. But even the mockery did not slow things down. It only added fuel, because every reaction, serious or sarcastic, kept the topic alive. Friends of NLE Choppa were dragged into the conversation without asking to be. Their comments sections filled with questions they could not answer. Some chose to ignore it completely. Others posted vague messages about peace, growth, and not believing everything you see online. Those posts were immediately screenshot and shared, framed as indirect responses to the rumors. Emotions ran high because even neutral words were being treated like coded messages. On the other side of the narrative, people connected to Four Knots were also placed under a microscope. Fans dissected every move, every post, every silence. If someone shared a laughing emoji, it was read as disrespect. If someone stayed quiet, it was seen as strategic. There was no winning position. Anything done or not done was twisted into meaning. The family was left divided in the sense that fan communities split into camps that refused to understand each other, The story also started reaching people who were not even deep into hip-hop culture. Blogs picked it up carefully, using language like alleged and reported, but still amplifying the rumor. Once blogs get involved, the tone changes. What was once fan chatter starts looking like news. Readers who missed the beginning assumed there had to be something real behind it. Because why else would so many platforms be talking about it? Some commentators tried to slow things down by reminding everyone that the title itself was built on reports, not confirmation. They explained how often fake stories are born this way, especially when they involve big names. But those calmer voices were often drowned out by louder ones chasing clicks and reactions. Sensational framing spread faster than careful analysis. Fans are shocked not only by the rumor, but by how little patience the internet has for waiting. Private messages allegedly began leaking as well. Screenshots of conversations with names blurred out, timestamps cut off, and context missing entirely. People shared them claiming they proved something, while others argued they proved nothing at all. The lack of clarity turned into a breeding ground for imagination. When facts are unclear, people write their own endings. There was also a strong emotional response from supporters who felt protective. They spoke about how artists are human, how constant rumors affect mental health, and how dangerous it is to turn speculation into entertainment. They reminded others that words online can follow someone into real life. Those posts gained traction, but they also attracted backlash. Some accused them of being naive, saying this is how the industry works and always has. But meanwhile, fans who live for drama leaned in harder. They created timelines, mock thumbnails, and reaction threads predicting what might happen next. Even without confirmation, the rumor had evolved into a full storyline in their minds. Betrayals were imagined, confrontations were assumed, resolutions were debated. Emotions ran high because the story felt unfinished, and people wanted closure even if there was nothing to close. At the same time, industry insiders reportedly watched from a distance. No official statements came out, which only deepened the mystery. People asked why management had not shut it down if it was completely false. Others argued that responding would only give it more oxygen. That debate itself became part of the narrative. Silence versus response. Strategy versus honesty. Every angle was analyzed. The conversation also revealed how quickly respect can turn into suspicion. Some fans admitted they had always believed in positive growth and maturity, but seeing these reports made them question everything. Not because they had proof, but because doubt is contagious. Once planted, it spreads quietly. The family was left divided emotionally, with some holding on to trust and others slipping into skepticism. As night turned into morning in different parts of the world, the rumor refused to die. Instead, it adapted. People started saying it was not about violence at all, but about confrontation, or misunderstanding, or exaggerated storytelling. The narrative shifted just enough to survive criticism. It became flexible, able to fit whatever new detail someone wanted to add. Through it all, one uncomfortable truth lingered. The internet had already decided that something dramatic must have happened. Whether it was footage, words exchanged, or just tension caught on camera, people believed there was a story worth telling. And when belief reaches that point, reality struggles to catch up. What began as a few posts had now turned into a full-blown spectacle. Not because of evidence, but because of reaction. Shock, anger, loyalty, disappointment, curiosity, all of it mixed together, created a storm that fed itself. Fans are shocked. Emotions ran high, and the line between reporting and imagining became thinner with every refresh. And as more voices joined the conversation, one thing became impossible to ignore. This was no longer just about an alleged clip. It was about how quickly narratives are built, how icily people choose sides, and how hard it becomes to pull back once a story feels real, even when its foundation is uncertain. As the narrative continued to stretch, the focus slowly drifted from the alleged footage itself to the emotional aftermath it created. People were no longer asking what was shown, but how it made them feel. Fans are shocked because the situation tapped into deeper fears about safety, pride, and public image. It reminded many how quickly someone's name can be pulled into controversy without their consent, and how hard it is to escape once the conversation takes on a life of its own. Online debates grew more personal. Strangers accused each other of bias, loyalty, and blind faith. One side argued that believing reports without proof was irresponsible. The other side fired back, saying ignoring patterns and history was naive. Emotions ran high because neither group felt heard. Every reply felt like an attack. Every disagreement felt like disrespect. What started as commentary became confrontation. Some fans began sharing stories from their own lives, explaining why this rumor hit close to home. They talked about being misunderstood, falsely accused, or judged based on incomplete information. Those posts gained sympathy, but they also widened the emotional scope of the discussion. The story was no longer just about artists. It became a mirror for how people process conflict and rumor in their own worlds. At the same time, critics questioned the responsibility of content creators. Reaction channels were accused of milking the situation, stretching speculation into long discussions without adding clarity. Creators defended themselves by saying they were only reacting to what was already circulating. That back and forth created another layer of drama. Fans argued over who was exploiting the story and who was simply reporting on it. The family was left divided in terms of who to trust. For information, rumors also began colliding with humor, which complicated everything further. Memes surfaced almost immediately. Some were lighthearted, others biting. While a portion of the audience laughed, another portion felt uncomfortable. They argued that joking about such serious reports crossed a line. Humor, for better or worse, helped the story spread even further. It reached people who had no interest in hip-hop drama but could not ignore a trending joke. Friends and associates of the main figures reportedly felt caught in the middle. They could not fully deny something they did not understand, and they did not want to validate rumors by responding. Some posted about staying offline, protecting mental peace, and focusing on real life. Those messages were quickly linked back to the controversy, whether intentionally or not. Silence became emotional, not neutral. There was also growing frustration with how fast narratives replace facts. Some fans admitted they had shared posts before reading them fully. Others confessed they reacted emotionally because the headline alone triggered assumptions. Fans are shocked when they realize how easily they participated in spreading uncertainty. That self-awareness came too late for many, as the rumor had already reached beyond its original circle. Industry conversations quietly emerged around the situation. People talked about how stories like this affect brand deals, collaborations, and future opportunities. Even unconfirmed drama can cast a shadow. Whether fair or not, perception often matters as much as reality. That realization made some fans uneasy. They understood that even if nothing happened, consequences could still follow. As days passed, the tone of the discourse became more reflective for some, more aggressive for others. Those seeking clarity grew tired of speculation. Those thriving on chaos demanded more updates. Every new post was scrutinized for hints. Every absence was treated as intentional. Emotions ran high because the internet rarely allows stories to simply fade away. There was also a noticeable shift in how people talked about accountability. Some argued that audiences need to take responsibility for what they amplify. Others insisted that public figures should be prepared for rumors and learn to manage them better. That debate revealed a deeper divide about power and expectation. Who holds responsibility when a story spreads this fast? The creator, the audience, or the system that rewards attention above all else? Meanwhile, the rumor itself continued to morph. Details changed. Emphasis shifted. Some versions became softer, focusing on confrontation rather than harm. Others remained dramatic, emphasizing danger and tension. The lack of a fixed narrative made it impossible to pin down what people were actually reacting to. They were reacting to a feeling, not a fact. Fans are shocked by how exhausting it all became. What began as curiosity turned into emotional overload. Timelines felt heavy. Comment sections felt hostile. People took breaks from social media, only to return and find the same conversation waiting for them. The story refused to end because it had become a shared obsession. There were also voices calling for empathy. They reminded everyone that behind every headline are real people with families, friends, and inner lives. They questioned what entertainment costs when it feeds on uncertainty and fear. Those voices were softer, less viral, but they resonated with those feeling burned out by constant drama. As the noise continued, one truth stood out. The rumor had exposed how fragile trust is in the digital age. How quickly belief replaces verification. How easily emotion overrides patience. The family was left divided, not by loyalty to individuals, but by belief in how stories should be handled. And while no confirmation arrived, no denial settled things either. The conversation hovered in limbo, sustained by habit and repetition. People kept talking because stopping felt like admitting confusion. The story lived on because attention kept it alive. In the end, the most powerful part of the situation was not the alleged footage. It was the reaction to it. Shock, anger, defense, doubt. All of it painted a picture of an internet that moves faster than understanding. And as long as that remains true, stories like this will continue to rise, stretch, and linger, regardless of where they began. As the conversation dragged on, something unexpected happened. Fatigue began to settle in. Not the quiet kind that makes a story disappear, but the restless kind that changes its shape. People stopped asking what was true and started asking why this kind of narrative keeps repeating itself. Fans are shocked when they realize they have seen this cycle before, just with different names and different rumors. That realization did not stop the discussion, but it shifted its tone into something heavier and more reflective. Some supporters openly admitted they no longer cared whether the reports were real or not. They said the damage was already visible in how people talked, judged, and assumed. The internet had already done what it does best, turning uncertainty into spectacle. Emotions ran high, not because of what allegedly happened, but because of how quickly trust eroded. Once doubt enters the room, it rearranges everything. Others pushed back against that mindset, arguing that refusing to question rumors is how misinformation wins. They called for patience and responsibility, reminding everyone that commentary should not replace facts. Those voices sparked a new wave of arguments, not about the rumor itself, but about the role of the audience. Who is really in control when stories like this spread? The creators who post them, or the viewers who reward them with attention? The family was left divided in a broader sense. Not just between fan bases, but within individuals themselves. People felt torn between curiosity and caution. They wanted updates, yet they felt guilty for wanting them. They criticized sensational coverage while still clicking on it. That contradiction sat uncomfortably with many, but few were willing to confront it honestly. As time passed, some content creators shifted their approach. Instead of speculating, they discussed the impact of rumor culture itself. They talked about how easily language like allegedly and reportedly becomes invisible once a headline goes viral. They questioned how many people actually read carefully versus reacting emotionally. Fans are shocked when they realize how much power a single phrase can hold when repeated enough times. Behind all the noise, the original claim remained strangely distant. No verified footage surfaced. No clear source stepped forward. Yet the rumor refused to fade because it had already fulfilled its purpose. It created engagement. It sparked debate. It kept people watching. In the attention economy, that is often enough. Some fans expressed sadness more than anger. They said they missed when music was the focus, when artists were discussed for creativity instead of controversy. They spoke about how exhausting it is to constantly defend or explain someone they admire. Emotions ran high because loyalty felt like labor. Being a supporter now meant navigating rumors, defending against assumptions, and watching narratives form without consent. Others were more cynical. They shrugged and said, "This is how fame works. Stories come and go. Attention moves on." They believed the rumor would eventually be replaced by the next trending topic. But even they admitted that each cycle leaves something behind. A crack in trust, a shift in perception, a lingering association that never fully disappears. There were also quiet conversations about safety and responsibility. Some fans worried about how rumors like this can escalate real-world tensions. Even unconfirmed stories can inflame emotions and create dangerous misunderstandings. They urged others to slow down, to remember that online drama does not exist in a vacuum. Words travel, assumptions stick, consequences can be unpredictable. As the days blurred together, the story settled into a strange middle ground. It was no longer breaking news, but it was not forgotten either. It lived in comments, in references, in the way people framed future conversations. Fans are shocked by how long rumors can linger. Even after the initial excitement fades. The silence from official sources continued. And with it, interpretation filled the gap. Some saw wisdom in staying quiet. Others saw avoidance. Both readings coexisted without resolution. The lack of closure became part of the narrative itself. People talked about the absence as if it were a statement, even though it might have meant nothing at all. What became clear was that the story had evolved beyond its starting point. It was no longer about leaked footage or alleged confrontation. It was about the culture that allows such stories to thrive, about the hunger for drama, about the speed at which speculation becomes belief, about the difficulty of separating entertainment from reality. Fans are shocked when they step back and see the bigger picture. How quickly they were pulled in, how easily emotions were stirred, how little certainty was required to keep the machine running. That awareness did not erase the impact, but it offered a moment of clarity. In the end, the situation stood as a reminder rather than a conclusion. A reminder that not every viral story is rooted in truth. A reminder that commentary can shape perception as powerfully as facts. A reminder that silence, reaction, and repetition all play roles in how narratives are built. The rumor may eventually fade from timelines, replaced by new headlines and fresh controversies, but the questions it raised will remain. How should stories be told? How much responsibility does the audience carry? And at what point does entertainment cross into harm? Emotions ran high, fans were divided, and the internet did what it always does best, turning uncertainty into a shared experience. Whether people learned from it or simply moved on is something only time will reveal.